So you've watched our episode on how to make pemmican, and then you watched the episode on how to make hardtack, and you even made your own portable soup with our episode on that. But then so many of you wrote in and said, how do I use this now that I've got it made, now that it's in my bug out bag or my stash of fun things to eat? How am I supposed to cook with it? Well, I'm going to show you that in the next few minutes, so I want you to stay tuned, and I'll promise you this one thing. It is going to taste much better than it looks. Don't go away. I'm outside today next to my little camper, and I am having so much fun. I'm playing with my little box stove that I have used almost for every meal during the power outages that we've had here in the spring, with some terrible thunderstorms and even tornadoes that have come through our area over the last couple of weeks. And this has saved my hide, I'm telling you, being able to cook a whole lot of stuff. Today what we're going to do though is show you how to cook up the portable soup, the pemmican, and the hardtack that you've been able to make through our other episodes. And if you haven't seen those, I want you to go back and watch those first, because you're going to need all three for this recipe. I also want you to be recognizing how small and compact these are going to be when you're able to put them away. So in this Altoids tin, I could carry all three of these, enough to make this very hearty meal that you're going to see me make here in just a moment. Right now in this Altoids tin, I've got just the portable soup, which is how I usually store it, with a little silica gel packet to just keep it nice and dry. So in this one little can, I could store just enough portable soup for about 3 meals. And then I've got, behind it, I've got this wonderful pemmican. Remember we made that in a previous episode? And the fats you're going to get in that pemmican are actually very important for your diet. And it stores well. I know it looks rough, but it stores perfectly, several of those in this Altoids tin. And then I've got over here the hardtack. Now this stuff that you see here is what I made a while back, and this is with whole wheat. So it's a little bit higher in nutrition content than the other. It won't last quite as long. But what we're going to do is we're going to use today my Stanley stove, not a stove, my little Stanley cook pot. I'm going to put it right up here and fill it about halfway with water, and then I'm going to literally just put in some meat, some dumplings, and some broth. That's literally what you've got working here for you in your pocket in an easy format. So we'll put some of those in, and then we're going to supplement it with all the foraged vegetables that we found around the yard this morning. The thing that's going to take the longest is that portable soup. So I'm going to put it in right now, and it's going to have time to turn it into a nice bone broth. I'll just put several pieces in, about equal to, I'd say a teaspoon or two for the 2 cups of water that I've got in there. There's a good piece. Then I'm going to take my pemmican, and I'm just going to break it up into small pieces, although it'll totally disintegrate. And remember, this has some of that good fat in it, so it's going to work out well in there. I'm going to stoke this fire just a little bit more. We want to keep it with a constant heat underneath because we want that to boil. And if I've got it nice and hot on the fire, it really should only take about 5 to 8 minutes to get a really good boil for that cooking of it. All right. Remember, these are just like little bricks, so I'm going to need to put those in there and give them plenty of time soaking in that water. And this is what I like to use the little ones for. I actually am going to break this up into a couple of smaller chunks with the back of my knife before I throw it in, just so it has a better chance. All right, I've got a good mess going now. And while that's cooking up, I'm going to get some of these foraged vegetables all cut up, and I'll put them in very last when it's getting close to the end, so they're not just boiled to death. So let me show you what I was able to find around the yard today. It's just barely spring here, and so I got just a few things out of the yard. But so far I've got some little white clover heads, just 3 dandelions. That was all I could find today. But I got some wonderful wild onions, and those are going to make it taste fantastic. Then one of the favorites of spring is that little bit of chickweed when it's still perfectly tender, where it hasn't gotten all pithy yet. And then I got some wild violet. I didn't have any of the blossoms left, so I only have the wild violet leaves, and that's just fine. And then I found a bunch of Indian faux strawberries, and those don't have a whole lot of flavor, but they do carry some nutrition, so they're good to just throw right on there with everything else. And then mixed in with a little bit of all of that, you'll see a few pieces of wood sorrel, which I just love their little heart shapes of that wood sorrel. That gives it a nice tang, almost like you're putting a little bit of lemon juice in there. So think about it. We're going to have meat, we're going to have dumplings, we're going to have the taste of onion and lemon. This is going to be fantastic, though it's going to look pretty crazy. So let's go ahead and chop all of this up and throw it in the pot. And it's been boiling now for a couple of minutes, so it's going to be ready by the time we are. Right, I have sufficiently made a mess, and I've got everything in there, and I'm telling you this one thing, this looks really bad, but it tastes amazing. I've already taken a little taste test of it. Let me talk you through this again. It's important that you remember that in an emergency situation, you're going to need as balanced of a diet as you can get. So you're going to need something that is green and healthy, like those leafy greens you would normally eat. You're going to need something that has protein in it, like the meat that we have in here. And then that portable soup is full of that rich bone broth that's so good for you and is going to help you have lots of sustained energy. And then we have the carbohydrates that are also going to give you that long-lasting bit of energy that keeps you going as they slowly convert into energy in your body. That's why you're trying to think of this and realizing this is a very healthy option for you to have in your bag. It's shelf stable, it's bag stable, take it wherever you go, and in an emergency, all you need is water and whatever you can forage around you. So, of course, I'm going to tell you, learn how to forage, because you might not be in the safe environment of your own backyard when you need this. You might be in somewhere unusual, so learn more than just the plants directly around you, but start there. Your backyard is a perfect place to start learning how to forage. All right, let's go ahead and pour this out and give it a little taste test. It might look strange, but I will take this any day that is cold and I have been traveling on my feet and I'm ready for a warm and hearty meal. I taste the dumpling, I taste the meat, I taste that rich, salty broth in that portable soup. It's absolutely delicious. I wish you were here to taste it with me, but I hope you take your family out this week. If you haven't made all 3, they're so simple. I hope that you will take the time and make some for yourselves, and then go out and forage a bit in your yard and make your own version of this. I think it would be exceptional with all kinds of different things. Everything from ramps and leeks and wild garlic or mustard would taste scrumptious in this. A little bit of that. But I feel like I'm drinking something very healthy, very strengthening to my bones. And I can't wait for you to try it for yourselves. All right, you know what it's time to do. It's time for you to go out and find someone somewhere in the world that needs you, and be a blessing to them. And so I'll meet you back here next week. I hope that you'll take the time to subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with somebody that you love. God bless you, and go out and be a blessing to someone today. Hey there. Before you go, I would love the opportunity to share just a bit of scripture with you. This is 2 verses out of Paul's letter to the Philippians, which is found in the New Testament of the Holy Bible. It's in chapter 4 of Philippians, verses 8 and 9. It says this: "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. What you've learned and received and heard and seen in me, put these things into practice, and the God of peace will be with you." Now go spread the word.